Good morning. Welcome to the weekend. Welcome to Saturday. You know, 18 inches doesn't sound like a very long distance, and really, well, it's not. It's about half the length of most people's stride as they walk along. It's roughly the distance between someone's fingertip and their elbow. But 18 inches can be a huge distance in some cases because it's also the distance between most people's head to their heart. Some people have described that distance, only 18 inches, as being the longest and most difficult journey you'll ever undertake. You see, there's a vast difference between knowing something in your head and knowing it in your heart. Because in your heart is where you will live it out every moment, every day. You can mentally believe in the Bible and all that it contains. You can read it, you can study it, you can know it frontwards and backwards. You may even be able to memorize passages and recite them freely, proudly proclaiming that you believe them. But if what you know about God is only in your head, how can you possibly experience Him? You're not living out His words in your heart. And that's the challenge we have, is how to get God's word past your head and down into your heart. You see, the real indicator of your faith is not going to be measured by your words or by your biblical knowledge, but rather how you live your life in day-to-day actions. I came across an article in Psychology Today that said true wisdom is taking what we know and turning it into action, something that'll create change in our lives. For most of us, our biggest challenge is to take our knowledge, the things we know in our head, and turn it into actions, the things that drive our feelings and emotions and compel us to do something. In Matthew 13, after Jesus told the parable of the sower, that story, the disciples turned to him and asked him, "Why do you speak to your audience in parables?" And he answered them by saying, "To you has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away." I've read that passage for many years, and when I first began reading this, it was like, what in the world is he talking about? Is Jesus referring to actual blessing, or is he talking about gifts and talents? Or is there something more to it? Well, Jesus is saying once again that it's all about faith. You think about this. When you have a little faith and you long, you thirst, you hunger to know more, God's going to meet you there, and He's going to add to your faith exponentially. But if you have a little faith and no desire to go any further in your knowledge, your understanding of who He is, then what faith you do have, it's going to become stagnant, and eventually it's going to disappear completely. It's the same with us today. We say that we believe God's in control. We say that we trust Him to guide us and lead us through these difficult days. We know these things in our head. But the real question is, do we live it out each day? Are we really trusting Him with our hearts? Or are we just saying it because that knowledge is in our head? God is willing, I would even say God is anxious to help us, if only we would ask. In fact, it's been my experience that He will greatly expand our efforts and help us when we make the attempt to get His word in our hearts, to actually go beyond knowing Him in our head, and to move towards living out with our hearts what He tells us to do. I'm challenging you today, especially if you're further away from God than you'd like to be, to pray a simple prayer. Ask Him for a better understanding of His word. Tell Him you want to know Him better, to know exactly how He wants you to live your life. Ask Him to bless you as you try to gain more knowledge in your head and your heart. Ask Him to help you to take what you know about Him up here and to move it down here. I've prayed that prayer, and I know how powerful it can be. You pray it, and you just wait and see what happens. But be ready, because you're going to be amazed by the results. I pray that you have a blessed day today. Each morning, look to this Facebook page for more encouraging videos that will help lift your spirits. And as always, please feel free to comment and share this video with your friends. Thank you. And God bless you as you go through your day today.